and welcome to the third part of how to set up the Dialog Backend. This time we go for additional functions, and we directly will start with the optics of the editor. So the first additional option is the localization system. Dialog plugin includes an export to localization and unlink from localization. This is the small dialog tree we've done the past time. If we hit export localization now, all messages and names are linked to string tables. The string tables are created here beside the dialog widget with the same name as tlog dialog test dialog, which is this one, and messages and speakers. Now you may notice the messages has the test dialog, the file name of this asset, included, the speakers not. And this is because the speakers are handled globally over all dialog widgets. Inside are only the names linked to the actual speaker name, while messages hold the individual lines and the messages inside. And these string tables now can be used in the localization dashboard of Unreal. Changing something here will also change the message in the string table. And changing in the string table from example green guy to, let's say, player guy. Saving. Will also change it inside of your dialog. And you can unlink it again to, for example, change stuff here. This is as you please. So you can use this, for example, to rename all of a specific NPC because you have a typo in it, or in your whole project at once. This is not a problem and completely usable with Unreal's native localization dashboard, which is found under Tools and Localization Dashboard. You then need to gather text from file and then give it the path to this string table directory. You can also move the string tables wherever you want, because the dialog system is using the whole content browser at once. The next useful function we found was the check chains. Because if you don't have an end node or a jumper at the end of something, the dialog window will never disappear. The dialog simply continues. It needs an end node. With check chains, you can check if every output ends in a jumper or in an end node. And on OK, it also selects the node for you, which you can start with. So you may have another one. Yes, here. End nodes, by the way, hold down the E key and left click. And if we are right here, let's make here a bit of a mess. I know no one of you will do this because spaghetti code is garbage. So we have a completely messed up code. We have the auto layout button at the top. You click it and the layout is fixed. Next, we go for stuff which is part of the interface. The first one, is OnDialogUpdated, which is called whenever a dialog continues with new data. We have OnEventOccured. This one is called whenever an event is called inside of your dialog. An event can handle an event tag, for example this one. It can handle a tag list, for example this one. And from the event occurred, you can switch on the tag. You can take the values of the global value system, because this one can also say, hey, I want to transport the integer apple with it. And you can go with the values, then you can change the mask text options and stuff. So this one is for events occurring inside of the dialog. The next one is OnDialogWaiting. This is called whenever a message box has the auto continue on or you added a delay node. It gives you the time it has to wait to finish and the time it actually is waiting. This event normally is used to drive a progress bar or something to show how long the player has to wait to continue the dialogue. OnDialogStarted is additional to OnDialogUpdated, so you can maybe drive animations for rolling up the dialog window or such thing. Same goes for the OnDialogFinished event of the interface, whenever the dialog finisher reaches an end node. OnDialogMaybeHide is called in between, so when this message node ends in between these two nodes, it calls the OnDialogMaybeHide. This is especially useful when you have a delay node inside which doesn't have any UI and you want to not show any UI in between this delay time. So you can hide your dialog widget here and show it again from the OnDialogUpdate. On top of that, we have the GetAvailableOptions, which is used to retrieve if a message has options attached, like this one. Has any options called true or false, depending on if this array has any values. And available options can be for each to spawn option widgets wherever you want or drive your own option system with the data of the individual option. Inside the option widget, in this case, you can use SelectOption as a blueprint function library call with an index to continue with the specific option you selected. If your option has use message upon selection enabled, it will call OnDialogUpdate again, but the current data will be the data of the selected option. InjectContinue, again as blueprint function library option, continues the dialog with the next node following. If it's an end node, it ends the dialog. The Dialog Backend also comes with a bigger subsystem, which you can get by using a Dialog subsystem or typing in the correct name. This one has lots of delegates you can bind to and functions and events you can call, which may be useful. So begin. The first block is the dialog system itself, which is called OnDialogFinished, OnDialogStarted, and OnDialogUpdated. It's the same as for the interface and for the dispatchers of the actor component. So this can be bind, for example, in animation sequencers or any other actor, even actors not using the dialog system, to trigger actions on them. The next block is important for the link. So if you have a message and send, for example, you tap here in my website, for example. Well, let's do it like a link in parentheses. So, and you can call the link parameter here, which I call the base color should be some type of violet, and the click color is kind of orange. It gets, oh, whoops. Type it in simply. Oops. Okay, again. Kind of violet, kind of orange. 18. It's a link, so we make it underlined. Object name would be a website. Link ID would be website link. For example, hit OK. So you now see the code inside. If you are unsure if everything is correct and you need to change it afterwards, it's no problem. Just click inside the text, hit the little pencil, and it opens the same editor again. So we now have a link here with website. Website, that's okay. And we can bind from the subsystem to is the link hovered? Is the link unhovered? Is the link clicked? And for clicking, you can say, for example, you can switch on name and say, hey, this is website, and you can type the identity, which you can also switch, or let's make it different. You go in and you see we have the object name and the ID. Let's say the object name is https google.com and the ID is website. Let's make it correct. So the ID is website and the object name would be now let's say open by name, and we get the link in, and you would open this now is level. Let's say this is a website call, and you now can open the website from the object name. So this is how the link binding works. So you normally want the link clicking covered in a manager class or something like this. Next, we also have two bindings for nodes. The first one is with F and left click the event, and the second one is S and left click for the beacon. So the event and the beacon call not only the on event received of the actor you call them on, but also for the subsystem it calls the beacon subsystem and the event subsystem. For the beacon you can call events or such thing that are outside of the dialog, like an NPC is joining the dialog. You can make this event happening wherever you want. And for the event you can filter on the tag, filter on the values, and also can call events here. And for the values, these are the global values. For the global values you can say with this event I want to send the integer called apple whenever test is called. So I go for event tag and I am switching on this tag. Switching is like an if for this one. And now I want to break the global values here. I only need the integer here. I'm finding the apple and I get the value out here. This is the simple task on this one. The next subsystem binding is for styles, and styles is for texts at all. So in your project settings, in the Dialog Backend settings, you have text style set, which per default is a default style set here, which is a rich text style row data table holding all the text data. For example, the font you're using, the font size you're using, the color you're using. You can add more styles to this. For example, you want a dyslexic font to it, you can select your new font from it, for example a different style sheet, and switch between those styles at runtime directly when running. Whenever you change style, this binding is called setting what new style is currently selected. For example, you have to switch name here. You can also use set current text style and, for example, switch the style to whatever you want. The default one again always is default. This normally is used when you want to have a highly stylized font, which sometimes is not readable by most of people. So you want a dyslexic font or a clear font also, but keep your whole system running. You can use the onStyle changed event and update your UI depending on the font used. Next, we have some useful functions. For example, you can refresh the participants joining a dialogue, which normally is used if you have an event, for example, where a participant is joining a dialogue in the middle, and you need to add his tag. You can use RefreshAllParticipants, let the dialog system add the tag by you. Set dialog actor is a bit specific. You can add the interface to an actor too, but these are not called on the actor. You can set this actor in here to say don't update by a widget, but update by the actor. Why is this important? For example, some games do not use widgets to show their dialogues, but instead widget components, or they show motion graphics in 3D in the world to show your dialogues. And with this, you can have an actor, a blueprint actor, drawing, handling your dialogues instead of a user widget. You can also clear this if you want to go back to a user widget. For example, set dialog is only used in battles to have 3D text bubbles above the enemies when they are talking, and after the battle you remove them again. You can also get the dialog actor if you want to call special functions on it, which could be important for the dialogue. The next ones are important for the bubble dialog flow. So you can force all bubbles of the world to be closed. So if you want to change levels, it's important to call this one before you open a new level, so the timers and co can be invalidated in time and not getting into an array index out of range. You can also close by the participant tags. For example, you have 3 groups and you want all 3 of them to close. Simply add all talking NPCs to this function call via the main gameplay tag container from array, and this will close all the bubble dialogues. The same goes for one participant only, which is in the background called from when you have a bubble dialog running, but you talk to that NPC which is currently in a bubble dialog. His dialog will be closed or paused, because you can also pause dialog bubbles. For example, in the pause menu, you don't want them to run through. You can add all participants here and pause them and unpause them later on. And this is for the subsystem, all the functions and bindings you can use. In addition to the actor component and the subsystem, we also have a global component, which I open the player controller for, and I'm adding the dialog manager component to it. And this one will be used later on in later versions for replication and calling global dialogues. For now, it is used to handle global event calls, because this also has the OnDialogStarted, OnDialogFinished, event received, onGlobalValue changed, and should be used to handle global events that occur while a dialogue is running. For example, when for your quest interactions. So, and that's all for the current additional functions. As next, we start by going through node by node. Each node will be an individual video, so you can watch if you need a specific information. And with this one, we start with the message node as next. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you liked it, and keep going.